I've been working on these new shapes that were inspired by this. It's an idea that I explored about a year ago, but I never released it because I wasn't fully confident about it. I wasn't sure what the response would be like. And I think the lesson I learned from this is sometimes you just gotta trust your gut and not overthink things too much. Let's see how these stack. You have to think of how people are going to have these pieces in their homes, right? And if it works, this is quite lovely. I hadn't thought of this. Cute, cute, cute. On the shelf they go. Negative thoughts. This is caused by negative thoughts, positive thoughts. Good morning, friends. I just finished trimming this one just now. I'm going to be using these mini vases for glaze tests because I am working on developing some new glaze recipes, and I like to make miniature test versions of what will become bigger vases. I did also make this new shape yesterday, which is quite new. It was quite challenging to get this neck to curve in. I just need to trim the bottom part today. I'm going to be trimming the foot so it looks a little more like this one. Good morning. I felt like cutting my hair this morning. I haven't had my hair professionally cut in almost 2 years now. There's a girl on YouTube called Gabeen. She's a hairdresser. She made videos on how to cut your own hair in the Korean way. These are what my bangs look like, and I think I'm only just gonna cut my bangs today. Last time I cut my hair, it was right here, so it's grown by this much. Not gonna lie, I've had a few kind of stressful last few days. I needed a little bit of self-care. This is the blunt cut, and now we're gonna connect them. I think this is looking pretty good. Yeah, feeling nice and fresh.
What are you doing?
Made it to the studio, and I'm feeling a little chatty, so I've thought, why not give you guys a little mini tour of the space, how it's changed, because I have moved some stuff around lately. I had sort of like spring clean energy, need to move all the furniture around, and it ended up being a ton of work because I had to remove a shelf from one area to another and break what was there before, which was like a bunch of bricks. We're here now, and I think this is the best that the space has looked like to date. There are still some changes coming, so I think maybe I'll do more of an in-depth tour once the bigger parts are finished. But so yeah, this is the entryway. I'm not gonna go hugely in depth into this space because there's a video exclusively on that is coming soon. A lot of the pieces that I have here are some finished pieces, some test samples that I've made in the past that I still like to look at, and then some more bisque fired pieces that are waiting to be glazed. And then this old table you guys are familiar with. It was the very first piece that I brought into this space. Still love it. It's an old antique Provençal table from the area of Provence in France from the 1800s, but I thrifted it here in Valencia. And it has a bunch of more bisque fired work that are in the works. Let's move on to the working studio space. Welcome to the production area. This is where it's changed the most. I have since turned the wheel that used to be facing the wall, I've turned it facing the entryway. And I kind of like working from this angle a little better so that I'm not staring at a wall all day. So I throw out the wheel, I put all my finished pieces on this piece of wood that I can move around when it's full, and then all my tools go here on the side, and I have all my extra tools to reach for. I have kept this Artemide, I don't know how to say it, light that you've seen me hang up on the wall. There was a second one here, and I've since moved it. We'll go over that in a second. This table that we built
based off of the Enzo Mari table design. It used to be in this direction, and I've since turned it so that from your point of view, you get to see the nice Enzo Mari style design. This table is really lovely seen from the side, but also I just think it opens up this space a ton. Now, to be completely transparent, I did not move anything around. This is what the studio looks like as I left it yesterday. So there is drying pieces of clay here that I'm going to end up reclaiming, recycling. So what used to be here was an IKEA shelf that was from pillar to pillar, and it was covering the entire wall. But when we renovated the space, we had left these bricks exposed. These are the original bricks from the building. The building dates from 1930-ish. And so I thought it was a shame to cover it with a shelf. It just adds a little bit of texture to the space. And so we moved the Artemide lamp that used to be by the wheel. I moved it here, and I just find that it looks so lovely against the warm brick. It's kind of this like contrast idea of like the bricks being really warm and matte, so they don't reflect a lot of light, and then the metal of the lamp is kind of cold and shiny, and together, I don't know how well you can tell just because this giant lamp is like really shiny, but it looks really nice in person. I really like it, and I kind of like that this is off center. When it comes to this area, this is very temporary. I just needed some way to create a table and to hide a bunch of boxes and bags of raw materials. So I'm eventually going to build a work table here where I can reclaim, I can wedge, and do just a bunch of other work. And so now, directly across from the brick wall, losing my voice there, we have the shelf that used to be there. Now it acts as my production shelf. So everything that is in the process of making that hasn't been fired yet goes on this shelf. And then I just laid pieces of cotton fabric that I had, extra ones, just to hide a bunch of buckets. I just find that hiding the clutter just gives you more peace of mind. This is the first time that I've put something this way. There's two reasons behind this idea. A, I wanted to hide a lot of like the kiln stuff that's at the back. It just from far away doesn't look really nice. And B, I needed an extra shelf to put all of my bisque fired pieces, just so I can have a separation between what is in the process of being made and what is waiting to be glazed. So everything that has been bisque fired, the idea is to go on this shelf, and then I just also have some extra buckets and such laying there for my glazes. Oopsie. My camera is running out of battery, so I have to wrap this up quick, and also I just broke a piece. Great. So this is the sink area, and it feels a lot more kitchen-y now that there is this shelf that just, I don't know how to explain, but it just squares off the area. I just feel like you can appreciate the beauty of the tiles a lot more in this way. I've also added a bunch of books up there. And then lastly, the end corner of the studio. The kiln is currently on, so that's why I have it kind of pushed out away from the wall, but I usually then tuck it back into the wall. Not much has changed here other than I've added some lights, and I've also sort of created cabinetry by laying more fabrics to hide my like cleaning mop and broom and a bunch of extra stuff. And then I also have all my cardboard stuff kind of smushed up there. So that is it for the updated studio tour. Like I said, my camera is about to die any moment now. everybody. I am going over taking some notes on the bisque firing that I just unloaded. Very happy with how it turned out. It turned out to be a really good firing. I'm at the stage where I'm starting to see the collection come together, and it's really fun to see these pieces come to life. I approached this collection a little bit differently than my past collections, and so it's taken me a while to kind of get a grasp of like what direction I'm going in. I've taken a few chances, I'm trying a couple things that are different, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that here with you guys. Before that, I have been using this notebook system, journaling system by Paper Republic, and I'm really enjoying testing this out. This is the Le Portfolio A4 size, so it's giant. Imagine an A4 sized piece of paper. This is how big this is. This one is in a beautiful botany green color. I've really been liking it so far. This was sent to me by Paper Republic though, so I want to test it out properly before I give my opinions on it. I do appreciate it when brands send over gifts, but I do also have strong opinions over things. So I want to test it out a little bit more before I say much more. I have also been knitting again. When it comes to knitting, I'm kind of on and off. There's seasons where I'm really into it, and then seasons where I need a little break. But lately, I've been really enjoying it again. I've made quite a little bit of progress on this project. This is the Cloud Top by Petite Knit. However, I am modifying it quite a bit. I've knit this before in an organic cotton, kind of in an off-white color, and I like it, but there's certain things that I wanted to change. So I'm testing out modifications on this. This is actually a gift knit for one of my friends. If you look at this color, you might know who you are. I don't know if she watches my videos, but yeah, it's really enjoyable knitting gifts for friends. Sometimes during lunch breaks or at the end of the day when I'm working in the studio, I take a little break, I sit here and I knit a little bit, and I find that it just gives me peace and clarity between work. In the last couple months, I've just been bombarded with a million problems that are related to the business or just like in my life in general, and it's really forced me to slow down. At first, I was hoping to have a collection out by April, but now that we're already in May, I'm inching closer, but I've had to delay the collection. And to be honest, I was quite confused at a certain point with where this collection is going, because I've just been trying new things that I haven't done before. At the same time, I think or at least on my social media feed, I've seen a lot of other artisans and ceramicists having difficulty with the pressure of the level of production that is needed. And I'm sharing all this because I think out there on social media, there's a constant pressure to be on, to broadcast your life, to show how positive and how great your life is. And there's a heavy pressure from society to be constantly growing and productive and working. But I don't think there's much of an emphasis on broadcasting how healthy your relationships are doing, how healthy you are, your mental health, your physical health. And I also think there isn't enough emphasis on taking the time to rest, especially when it comes to creative work. I think resting is incredibly important. In fact, when you slow down and take some time to yourself, even sit down and knit or find something that brings you peace and calms you down. I find that when I'm sitting down and knitting, I do a lot of contemplating, which comes with a lot of problem solving. I take a look at like how my day was or where I'm going, and it's in these moments when I'm actively resting that often I come up with a lot of good ideas. Also in these moments of recharge, I regain a lot of creative energy. And so after moments of rest, I go and do a lot of creative work. And when I've depleted it, I come back and recharge. And so all this to say, if you're feeling lost, depleted, overwhelmed, and feeling like you can't keep up, it's okay to take time to rest, to slow down, take time for yourself. And in fact, from slowing down and resting, you might get great ideas and maybe get a different perspective on what is going on in your life. There's more to how productive you are, how big your business is, how successful you are. There's also personal fulfillment, and that is something that is personal to you. It comes down to what you value and what you want your life to look like. So I hope this resonated with one of you, and I hope you're getting some lovely spring weather ahead. Maybe you get to enjoy going outside or taking a nap or just taking a little break to breathe and tune in with how you're feeling, how you're doing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and it brought you some kind of peace. Wishing you a wonderful day and talk soon. Bye.